Hi, my name is Neb Camus Sen Atumre, and this is the 9th video in the Black History series 200 Fallen Angels into the Eurojew. 67 viral videos, thousands of subscribers, and the fantasy world created by the Canaanite Caucasian beastman is now falling. The David and Goliath story all over again. Now, the beastman's desperation is to dissuade us from posting these videos. The right knowledge, the right wisdom, and the right understanding. Sound right reasoning called the science of Nuwaubu. Now Conan, in confusion, you wonder why does Neb Camusen Atumre still keep making these videos, knowing that full well that his number of views is being so grossly, maliciously misrepresented. Well, the answer to that is quite simple. It is the information, reformation, transformation. The angel Melchizedek comes to planet Earth to inform and reform the children of the Anunnaki every 24,000 year equinox. And the ubiquitous sex, drugs, fame, and fortune that fuels this society no longer has any effect on us. The prospect of returning to Nibiru and the heavens totally annihilates any desire for your worthless Federal Reserve notes, which has absolutely no significance in our transformation. In other words, keep your blood money. Nubian blood. Blood that was spilt, that defiled Mother Earth. Can't use it up there in the real world of Nibiru. Now listen carefully and be instructed. There are 7 heavens or planes which are divided into 3 worlds, also known as realms or abodes. These 3 realms are Lahut, the realm of God, Malakut, the realm of the angelic beings, and Nasut, the realm of man, mortal. Adam had knowledge of all 3 realms called Ha-Ulei. The 7 planes or heavens also have 7 subplanes, which you are able to see by the 7 subplanes of the material plane, which consists of the dense chemical regions of solids, liquids, and gases, and the etheric region consisting of 4 higher ethers: ultra gaseous ether, life force ether, light ether, and mental ether. The material or physical plane is governed by the carnal desire. It is the physical or material plane human beings dwell on. It is partly made up of solid, liquids, and gases. If you feel that everything that exists only on the physical plane, you are wrong. There is still much to be discovered on this plane. Western scientists limit the physical plane to just 3 substances when there are many more forms or states of being within the physical plane, as mentioned earlier. The plane of force is the force between voluntary and involuntary actions. The plane of force and the material plane work together in perfect harmony. If this were not true, the cycles of nature would not be completed so perfectly and faithfully each year. This plane is largely composed of etheric duplicates of objects on the physical plane, or counterparts. Ether refers to the spiritual part of you, as above, so below. On the plane of force, there is no distance, temperature, seasons, day and night, and it is not subjected to gravitation. The plane of force is governed by a force called attraction, and it is all around us, and it is much a part of our makeup as the material plane. You are not able to detect it because your senses are not conditioned. However, beyond the subplane of etheric duplicates, the plane of force is a vast reservoir of forces which very few have knowledge of. These forces control the forces that result in what we know as nature. The higher forces can be held accountable for the many so-called wonders and supernatural phenomenon of the material plane. The lowest forces consist of ordinary forms of like light, attraction, electricity, etc. But the higher forces are those forms of energy which are finer. They give man and nature the ability to grow and reproduce. This vital force which sets life on the physical in motion and is responsible for growth and reproduction is called nafas in Ashuric, Syriac, Galilean Arabic, which means spirit, the spark of life. The Hindus call it prana, and in Hebrew it is called nafesh, which means breath. Every action and reaction of growth and reproduction is a result of this life force. The spiritual plane is also called the astral plane. It is a plane where you decide whether you move to a higher plane or burn out your desire for the physical, material, lower plane. Are you listening, Conan? Where you exhaust all individuality such as pride, conceit, greed, envy, hunger, fear, hate, jealousy, just to name a few. This is the plane of judgment by which human beings are judged by sins rather than for them. This plane decides your permanent destination. The human beings who have a strong love for the physical, like for you, Conan, and your fame and fortune, will greatly desire rebirth into the physical lower plane. One cannot pass directly from the physical plane to the spiritual plane. Your deeds determine whether or not you proceed or recycle into incarnation or possessing for a human form. The spiritual body, which is the shell of the soul, houses itself on the spiritual plane. The spiritual body may continue to live on for an extended amount of years depending on the spiritual status of the person. This is the plane where you can become God by taking responsibilities. Yes, as soon as one gives up the desire for material things of this world, that person is free to travel through the planes at will. So if one masters the desires of the physical plane and is pure in heart, then one can visit and ascend to the spiritual plane. Do you follow? Now, this takes us to the fourth plane, the mental plane, where thoughts are formed and all individuality is given up because spirit and the soul are outgrown. Elevation cannot be made to the mental plane unless one dies or has given up the physical life. At this point, one loses the spirit and soul. He is no longer able to determine or complete any action for or against himself. This is because there is no self. One has taken the ultimate step, and from this point on, he has burnt out all desires. Listen up now. The fourth plane is also where the angelic beings are living, called Malakut. The realm of the angelic beings. Malakut is the pathway where spiritual beings come into. It is a gateway through the vortex. The angelic beings, the prophets and El Khidr, the green one, the angel Melchizedek, are the only ones able to travel back and forth freely through the planes. I want to be like Mike, the angel Melchizedek, Conan. Do you understand? All of them were after the order of Melchizedek. Yet Melchizedek was a priest of the Most High Elyun. Melchizedek is the head of all the angels, Daniel 7:9. He was a throne watcher, as stated in Daniel 4:17. And in Daniel 4:13, it tells you that the watchers and the holy ones and the cherubim were the guardians, Genesis 3:24. So, if it were possible to capture and subdue the angel Melchizedek, you would have to be on an equal level or even higher in mentality and spirituality than he is. For you see, all of our thoughts on this physical plane are easily intercepted or controlled by these higher manifestations, ethereal substance of the mental plane, whose bodies, the matter of which their physical forms are composed, is of the highest planes of matter. Some are even said to be clothed in pure energy. So Conan, the angel Melchizedek, already knew your every thought and thus would have known of your psychotic fantasies even before you conjured them. The entire notion of you capturing and incarcerating the angel Melchizedek is as absurd as me making the perfect analogy by saying that a chimpanzee, the plane of the animal mind, captured and incarcerated you, the plane of the beast mind. See, Conan? Now, do you see how dumb that sounds? And all of the people, Nubians included, who believe that you possessed such overwhelming, superficial capabilities are even dumber, dumb and dumber too. And all of you never over or understood the angel Melchizedek and what he came to teach us. Well, the beast man ain't born yet that could pimp me like that. Now, in the Talmud of the Euro-Jew, the Jebusite, there is documented information on how it is permissible for the Euro-Jew Jebusite to have intercourse with small boys and did not regard this as a sexual offense. The priest were permitted to marry a girl under 3 years and a day and have sex with her, with the explanation that a girl under 3 years and a day would regain her virginity as she cried tears of purification. Bona fide, documented sex offenders. The penalty for adultery does not include sex with a minor, the wife of a minor, or the wife of a heathen, a non-Euro-Jew. That's you, Nubian. Rape in a perverted manner is outside the jurisdiction of the law and was therefore not punishable. The Talmud, Mishnah, and Gemara make up the base of the religion of the Euro-Jew Jebusite and is still in use today. All three of these books are made-up laws and traditions. They are the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogues of Satan, Revelation 2:9. inglorious, narcissistic bastards. In Anu's college, we learned about the great mental plane where there are seven minor mental planes, which are the plane of the mineral mind, the plane of the elemental mind A, the plane of the plant mind, the plane of the elemental mind B, the plane of the animal mind, the plane of the beast mind, and the plane of the human mind. That means, people, that each of these seven forms of existence thinks, but from its own mental plane. So a plant cannot think like an animal, and likewise a beast man cannot think like a human. Do you overstand? The plane of the beast mind in its seven subdivisions comprises those entities and beings which are out of control visibly, as are all such elemental forms which partake of the nature of both animal and human beast. Now this is you, Conan, the human beast, a savage, uncaring for others, the devil who is a human beast. He kills to rule. The lowest forms of this plane are semi-human, and yet intelligence is the killer mind of the beast. Jonah 3:5-9. And no one can deny this. Nubians, blacks, on the other hand, think from the plane of the human mind in its seven subdivisions, which comprises those manifestations of life and mentality which are common to mortal in their various grades, degrees, and divisions. The average mortal of today occupies the fourth subdivision of the plane of the human mind, and only the most intelligent have crossed the borders of the fifth subdivision. It has taken time to reach this stage, and it will take more time to move on to the sixth and seventh subdivision and beyond. The mortal of the sixth subdivision will be the supermortal, and he of the seventh will be the overmortal, the God being. The Rizqians, like Dr. Malachi Z. York, are of the ninth. And then there are a few advanced souls of that race who have outstripped the masses and passed on to the eighth and ninth subdivision and advanced further. Their thoughts are of such a sublime nature, their minds so far transcend yours, Conan, that to them you scarcely seem to think, and your mental processes seem almost essentially similar to material processes. Do you follow? Now, two different priesthoods were formed in the time of the Prophet Solomon, which were the Levitical priesthood and the Judaic priesthood, establishing two different views. This is where you get the real Ashkenazim from Ashkenaz, who became mixed in with Europeans, Khazars, and became known as Jews, moving to the north, and the real Sephardim tribes of Judah, Dan, Benjamin, and Dinah, who moved to the south. Benjamin stayed in Yemen, and Dinah moved into Ethiopia on up through Africa by way of Angola to eventually cross Africa and move to Spain, known as the Sephardim of Spain. Judah and Dan, while in Africa, entered through Ethiopia, moved north up into Sudan, the northern region. Dan became Danakil, and further on up to Dongola, whereas Judah became Huda or Hadendawa, the Beja tribes known as the Fuzzy Wuzzy. These tribes moved together and became Nubia, which was invaded by Christians and later by Muslims. They converted to Islam, producing from the original tribe of Judah the Mahdi, a word derived from Huda, from which you get Judah. Bilal was from this tribe, and his descendants were mixed in with the Moabites, Genesis 19:37. They moved on into Morocco and became the Moors. The Sephardims were from Spain, and they were the darker versions of the Ashkenazims. Some of the real Ashkenazims migrated south with the other tribes on into Ethiopia, further up into Africa, and mixed in with the Nigerians, becoming Igbo and Ashanti, and also in America as American Negroes, as well as all over the Caribbean. The real Sephardim are currently in Yemen, Morocco, Sudan, Ethiopia, and America as American Negroes. The Khazars, who were originally Russians and converted into Judaism, picked up the name Ashkenazim as found in Genesis 3:10. And there you have it. You have the real Judahites and the fake Euro Jews. So now, with the real, original sex offenders, please